You've tried to glow up your life in the past. Maybe you gave 75 hard a go. Maybe you created a little 3am Pinterest board. Maybe you set some smart goals. And then life happened. You forgot about your plans. It didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, for whatever reason. This is the year that things are going to be different, because you're not going to approach change in the way that you always have. You're not going to try and improve every single area of your life overnight with a beautiful Pinterest board and a 20-step plan and the sense that you just need to try hard this time. You're gonna try something new. You're gonna do it different, and you're going to start treating your life more like a game. This is my favorite shift that I have started making when it comes to any kind of self-improvement, that I low-key wish I could go back in time and just talk to my little younger self and be like, babe, this is the easier way. And I'm not talking about weird corporate gamification, a leaderboard, some points. I'm talking about completely changing how you approach change. In this podcast episode, I want to deep dive on how to turn your life into a bit of a game in a genuine way that feels like fun and also leads to a glow up. Welcome to Grow With Intention, the podcast for people who want to create a life that feels good. And I'm going to dive right into the nitty gritty today because I'm excited about this one. Starting with step number 1, asking yourself, what actually is winning? So when Katniss went into the Hunger Games, she had a very clear idea of what winning meant. When you go to play Monopoly, you know what it means to win Monopoly. And if you don't know what it means to win in any area of your life, how are you supposed to play the game? How are you going to figure out the best strategy? How are you going to figure out the best approach? I have so many questions and prompts that can help you to figure out what winning looks like in each area of your life, particularly in the life map. But here is one that I really like. It really cuts directly and forces you to acknowledge what's up. If I gave you a truth serum and you had no choice but to be so honest with me about what winning looks like in the area of your life that you want to glow up, whether that is fitness, relationships, health, whatever, what are you saying? So for some areas of your life, it helps to add on, and what does winning look like for the people that you're serving? So for example, if you're a therapist, it's great if you win, but you only really win if your clients also win. So to begin this process of treating your life like a game, you want to get clear on what winning the game looks like in each area of your life. And then ask yourself, does this actually excite me? Because this is the easiest question to lie to yourself about. So this isn't a foreign concept. You've been told to create a vision for each area of your life, and most people will create a vision for their life and then they'll create a plan of action to get there. But you're not everyone. You're taking a game approach to life. You're going to do it differently. And you're going to begin by understanding the game itself with step number 2. So whether you like it or not, you're actually already playing the game. You're just probably playing it badly in some areas of your life, and that's okay. We all have areas of our life where we're playing badly. Your next job is to find out what's getting in the way of you winning. Daniel Kahneman is a decision-making expert, and he talks about how there are 2 approaches to change, and one is good and helpful, and one just sucks. The one that sucks is the one that most people do, and that is asking themselves, how do I drive these new behaviors? How do I drive this change? How do I make things happen? And the good way involves asking, why am I not doing this already? And since we are turning every area of your life into a game, the question you want to ask yourself is, why are you not winning this game already? So what you're looking for are friction points, the little blockers that are getting in the way of you moving forward in the game. In video game terms, I believe this is finding the bosses and defeating the bosses. You're finding your bosses in each area of your life. And your bosses come in the form of friction points, little things that are mucking with your flow. I think a lot of people, when they approach this, me included, me in the past included, to be clear, is they go, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to journal on that. I'm going to ask myself, what is blocking me? What is getting in my way? And it becomes an intellectual exercise, which is one way to approach it, but there's a better way. And that is to start trying to play to win in health. Start trying to play to win in, growing your Instagram, whatever your thing is. And then pay attention to the friction points that come up, your bosses that you need to defeat. So for example, one of my big goals in the last year has been to try cooking at home more. And it's been and I definitely approached winning at this area of my life more like a game, in that I started out by just noticing. I tried cutting out the takeout habit and I started cooking at home, and then I just noticed what friction points came up. So when I felt like there would be a lot of dishes to pack, I would immediately feel resistance toward cooking. When I had to stand and wait for something to cook, I would start to feel bored and it would pull me away from cooking, etc., etc. And if I had not spent the time just trying to play to win and then noticing what happened, documenting all of my friction points, I would have started solving for the wrong friction points. I would solve for the wrong problems. I might have bought myself a bunch of cute kitchenware, which would not have solved the problem of the amount of dishes. In the past, I've tried to solve this by getting really excited about cooking, trying to force myself to be into it, which doesn't solve my problem of feeling bored while I'm waiting for things to cook. When you don't start with this noticing step of just figuring out what your actual friction points are, are, you solve for the wrong things. You end up with a strategy that sucks, that doesn't work, that doesn't get you forward in the game of whatever area of your life. So your next 48-hour experiment is try to play to win. So take an area of your life that just isn't working the way you want it to, try to glow it up, try to play to win, see what happens. Observe and take notes non-judgmentally. What thoughts come up, what feelings come up, what in your environment isn't working, those are the bosses that you need to defeat in the game. Step number 3 is to create your theories. So my hottest take as someone who loves a Pinterest board, loves a goal, loves a detailed plan, is that you probably don't actually need more plans. Usually you need more theories. In the Hunger Games, once again, Katniss had theories about what was going to help her to win, about what would earn her gifts from her sponsors. She tested those theories, they turned out to be right, she won. In the last Monopoly game you played, the person who won probably had a theory about the best way to win. Buy aggressively, really develop houses. And they went hard on those theories turned out to be right, and they won. When you go into any game, including the game of business, the game of fitness, the game of mindset, without any theories, you can do okay. Like, you can usually get by. Some people will win Monopoly without a theory. But if you really wanted to win Monopoly, you need a theory about how to win. And if you want to really glow up your life, you need theories about how to glow up your life. So here are a few examples of my current working theories, ranging from deeply non-serious to none of these are serious. Theories aren't serious. That's the good thing about them. So the first theory that I have is that my cat, Petunia, will love me more than Luke if I make a big fuss of her whenever she enters the room. Like, I really overreact and get excited when she enters the room. So far, it's working for me. I have a theory that people on YouTube are ready to watch more people show, not tell, when it comes to self-improvement content. Haven't tested it yet. I have a theory that if I want to grow on Instagram in the next 6 months, I'll grow quicker if I focus on these type of talking head videos. And I have so many more theories in all different areas of my life. And my theories aren't all right. Like, some of them are wrong and some of them will be proven wrong. But I have theories on how to win. And winning sounds so aggressive, but like, that's the fun of the game. You can enjoy the game without winning, but if you're not playing to win, it's just less fun. So if you have an area of your life where you have hit a roadblock, pick a few theories that you think will help you to defeat your bosses. I think creating more than one theory is helpful at first. Like, you do not want to be taking your theories very seriously. Hold them lightly so that if they prove to be wrong, it's just not personal. It's interesting data. And then you can move on to the next theory. So if you like pre-create a few theories that you're like, well, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, that makes it less personal because you're like, okay, that theory's out the window, let's move to the next theory. You know how there are those people who do rejection therapy and they go out and they ask like a bunch of people on dates in the name of getting rejected as many times as possible so that they almost bulletproof themselves from rejection. They don't take it so personally anymore. And really what they're doing is building up their ability to tolerate feelings of rejection because those feelings are really hard to manage. It helps to do the same with your theories by having some kind of theory tracker and creating as many theories as possible and just letting them get shot down. Take whatever area of your life you want to glow up and create theories daily based on the data that you get so that you start taking your theory failure less personally. Because one of my theories is that the less sensitive you feel to failure, the easier it is to succeed. The less ego you have when it comes to glowing up your life and changing, the quicker you will glow up and change. And step number 4, keep on playing the game. Usually games have a solid endpoint. Monopoly has an endpoint, a video game has an endpoint. Your life does not have an endpoint. As you grow, your bosses, your friction points, your things that are in your way of you winning the game, they are going to grow with you. When I first started YouTube, like my biggest boss to defeat was the fear of being cringy. I had to get over that fear of like, oh my God, I'm showing up online and people are gonna like see me that I know, and that's so hard. Now, obviously, like that's not a problem for me. Thank God. Because what a nightmare if that was something I had to deal with. However, I have a new boss, which is I write really slowly and I create content slowly. That's my friction point. That is my boss that is stopping me from winning in the game of content creation. That's my new boss to defeat. And as you grow and experience life, your version of winning is also going to grow with you. My version of winning now when it comes to my friendships is gonna look really different when I have a kid. The game itself will fundamentally shift. My bosses are gonna change so much. My version of winning is gonna change so much. And that is way too much to delve into in this podcast episode, but let's not stress ourselves out. Instead of like locking things in and being like, okay, I've tested all my theories and these are the right theories and I need to stick with these for the rest of my life. To win the game, you need to keep on checking in and being like, okay, like what game am I playing? Does this still feel like winning? I guarantee what felt like winning to me 5 years ago does not feel like winning to me now. What are my new bosses? Your bosses are gonna change. And like, what are fun new challenges that I can add to this game? That keeps you playful, it keeps it fun. Sometimes I will get a comment and it'll be like, isn't it exhausting to improve yourself? Like maybe you aren't a project to always be improved upon. And I really get that energy. I also think self-improvement should really come in seasons. You need times of rest, of not really thinking about yourself very much and blah, blah, blah. However, I also think that how exhausting self-improvement can be really depends on how you are perceiving it. Because if you are perceiving it as a game, if you're following the ideas that I talked about in this video, it's going to be really different than if you are following really rigid, like, self-discipline, need to be my best self kind of energy. Self-improvement can be fun when you focus more on the game and less on yourself. It can be playful when you focus more on the game and less on yourself. But you've got to redirect your focus, and in a way that can require self-discipline, because it's very easy to get swept up in focusing on the self in self-improvement. And that's for another video. Let's finish up by talking about recs of the week. Every podcast episode I finish with a few recs to help you to dive deeper into the topics that I talked about in today's podcast episode. I'm going to give you 2 recommendations that I've given you before. One is Roger Martin's blog. He talks about strategy for business, and I've gotten a lot of inspiration from him in that arena, and I've gone ahead and applied it to life. It's really worked for me, and I do really love his work. So I'll have that linked below. And then also Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke is a really good one if you want to make your life a little bit more gamified. Got to think of a better word than that, and a little less rigid, self-helpy. I also have a few podcast episodes you might like to listen to after this one. For example, how to create a strategy for your life. And I think I made one about how to stop thinking about yourself, where I talked about the importance of not thinking about yourself. I'm going to have those linked in the show notes for you to listen to next. I appreciate you so much. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I'll see you soon.